got a testimony. Come on, Asia. Come on, sweetheart. Give her a hand.
Okay, hey y'all, good morning. Well, good afternoon. My name is Asia. I'm a sophomore political science major at Howard University from the south side of Chicago. And I graduated from King right up the street in 2017. I went on this tour my junior year of high school, and we went to the south. So we went to like Southern University, Baton Rouge, and we went to Memphis, we went to Arkansas, and that was where my love for HBCUs came. Like I still didn't know where I wanted to apply to school and where I wanted to go yet, but I knew then after that tour that I wanted to go to an HBCU. And my senior year, I went on to my senior year, and I had been applying to schools, and I still didn't know where I wanted to go. It was April, and I hadn't picked my school, but I had already registered for this tour again. We went to the East Coast, and we saw Howard and Hampton, and Morgan State, and Coppin, and we did some corporate stops, and that's where I fell in love with my school, and, you know, talked to admissions and financial aid, and I had a lot of help from this tour. And I wanted to talk to you all today about how important this tour is. My junior year, I came with a big group of friends, and we kind of played a little bit, didn't take it very seriously. But when I came back my senior year, it really, really helped me get to where I am today. And I wanted to give y'all some tips when y'all go on the tour. My mom, she's sitting in the audience right here, but my junior year, she had me put together portfolios with my ACT scores, a headshot, recommendation letters, and all of these things to give to admissions, because when you're a senior going on this tour, you go straight to financial aid and admissions, so you can possibly do on-site admissions and talk about scholarships. And that helped me a lot, because when I went on the tour my senior year, I was still waiting on an acceptance from Howard. I had never got the acceptance since April. And I went on the tour, and that's when I was able to, get my actual acceptance letter and talk about money. And had I not gone on this tour, because I didn't want to go on it in the first place my junior year, had I not gone on it, I wouldn't be at an HBCU. I wouldn't have the opportunities that I did have, coming out of high school and going to college. And if you all have any questions you all want to ask me, I'm here to answer anything.
Talk about your school. Sorry.
Okay. I'm at Howard, the real HU, and
Explain why. Some people don't know about that.
And look,
maybe another HU.
And Tim is watching from Hampton.
Right.
Clarify that, Asia.
Okay.
The real HU.
Well, Howard University and Hampton University are both, HU, but Howard is considered the real HU because Hampton was Hampton Institute before it was Hampton University, and Howard University was Howard University before Hampton Institute was Hampton University.
Now we know why they say Howard is the real HU.
Right.
No offense to anybody who went to Hampton.
You hear that, Tim? He said it's the fake HU.
Did anybody go to Hampton in the room? Or nobody who knows someone who went there? Hampton is a great school, actually.
It is. I
It's a great
considered
school.
Hampton for a long time.
Very
So
great
I didn't even
school.
want to go to Howard at first. But I'm there now.
But what convinced you to go to Howard? What did you see that's wow, this is the school for me? What was your decision making in between?
Okay, so my mom can tell you, when I was applying to schools, I didn't even want to apply to Howard. I didn't care about Howard. I was like, I'm going to find a school that's going to be the best fit for me. And I applied the day before the last decision date for, students to apply. And I still wasn't sold on Howard until I went to the campus and, toured the campus, talked to students, talked about, the classes and majors and things like that. And I just really felt at home. I know it sounds cliche, but I really did feel at home at Howard. And I'm happy at Howard. A lot of people go to Howard with really high expectations and, go to Howard and leave Howard. They don't stay very long, but me not even wanting to go to Howard in the first place, I went and I was very surprised about what I came into. And I feel at home.
Thank you.
Yes.
You mentioned that you went in your junior, you went on a tour in your junior year, but wasn't very serious with it. And then you went in your senior year and you discovered your school. But can yeah, that you was gonna talk about like the importance of it. So I heard that there's some freshmen in here and juniors, probably some sophomores. So can you speak to that about the seriousness or, you know, what they're getting out of it and the preparation?
Yeah, so I wish I would have taken the tour a lot more seriously when I came my junior year. I did take it seriously, but I came with a lot of my friends, so you know we were just having a good time with spring break. But it's important to take the tour seriously when you do go because you are going straight to the school, you're going straight to the stores, you can talk to financial aid, admissions, and you can get scholarships early. Me applying to Howard so late, and then I basically messed up my chance to get like a whole lot of money from my school. But had I, junior year, being, creating folders and bringing your ACT scores and your recommendation letters and things like that, it helps you get a jump start on like trying to get some money out of these schools because, it's good to be accepted in the school, but you need to pay for it.
You said for your junior year?
Yeah. I brought those folders my junior year and my senior year. So they knew my face, knew my scores, knew what I would be able to qualify for money.
Thank you.
All right, so my question, I do believe you said earlier that if you're a senior going on the tour and you go to the schools, they take you straight to the admissions office and apply for, to get enrolled as well as financial aid. What type of documents should the students have with them when they go on this tour? So if they have to fill out that information.
Okay, so you want to have a copy for every school of I know people, they're not doing the ACT in Chicago anymore. You want to have a copy of your SAT scores for every school. Like a general, what is that called?
Letters of recommendation.
No, not the letters of recommendation, like.
Your transcripts.
Oh, no. The transcripts, you need that too, but it was like a letter
bio?
of appeal, sort of. Not appeal, but
Your bio.
personal statement.
Yeah.
You want to have a personal statement, you want to have your scores, you want to have your transcripts, any your resume with what you may have done, like, community service hours, things that make you stand out to the school. You want to have all of that, copies of it for each school.
Somebody from Facebook has a question. What did you get out of an HBCU besides an education?
Besides an education?
Yes.
Well, okay. Speaking for Howard, my school has one of the best business programs in the country. And I want to start my own natural hair product line. And since my school has a very great business program, people are trying to diversify their industries. We get a lot of sponsors coming into our HBCU, looking for Black students and whatnot to recruit for their internships over the summer, your freshman, sophomore, junior year, and to recruit for jobs outside of when you graduate.
Outside of education.
Outside of education.
Campus life, in other words.
What about campus?
What do you do on campus outside of go to school? Do you have fun? Do you kick it? Tell us about homecoming. Right.
Stay on topic, Mom.
Right.
All right. Most HBCUs are party schools. I'll say that. I'm gonna put it out in the open. Everybody knows. There's something to do every weekend, especially if you go to an HBCU that's in the city.
Clean stuff.
So there's parties to go to, but you gotta keep focused. You gotta keep that focus. If you don't have a whole lot of freedom, before you go to college and you're away from home, you don't have a lot of freedom and you want to keep your head in the game because you gotta pay for college. It's not a game. Any more questions?
I have a question for you. What is your take on being in college and having to see the different organizations, the Greek life, dance teams, all of those things? So how has that been for you?
Well, my school is full of women, so there's a lot of pageants and Howard is the alpha chapter for a lot of the Greek organizations. So they're prominent on campus, but there are organizations outside of Greek organizations. You have business organizations. You have mentorship organizations called, like there's one called Jewels where you can come in your freshman year and be a part of them. You go out into the cities, the community, the DC community, and mentor kids. Go teach after school. Like it's not just school.
Do you have any friends who don't attend HBCUs, and like do you all have those conversations about the difference between campus life and the experiences they have?
Yeah, okay. I have a lot of friends that went to the University of Illinois Springfield. I have friends at NIU. I have friends, and a lot of my friends went to PWIs. And on social media, because social media is really prominent right now, I've been seeing a lot of conversations between PWI students and HBCU students about, oh, HBCU students, you wouldn't get a 4.0 in my school because, you know, y'all are doing easier work, but it's not the case. Because it's difficult. I've been seeing that the debate between PWI and HBCU education a lot between students right now in college.
I would like to interject something at that moment. Adrian, you brought up a good point. There is debate between HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, and PWIs, predominantly white institutions. And the debate in many people's minds is that the PWI somehow is superior to the quality of education that one would get at an HBCU. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm a product of an HBCU, and I do not consider myself to have received an inferior education by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, my education was superior because it was more than just an education. It was the encouragement. It was the sense of community. It was the sense of just building one another and supporting one another and strengthening one another that I would not have probably gotten at a predominantly white institution. I'm just being honest with you. And so to that debate where they say that no, the black college is inferior to the white college, if anything, it's superior because you get both and. You get a quality education, a very high quality education, plus you get a support system which helps you to become a strong person in life. Because in this life, you need more than just an education. You need to know who you are. You need to have confidence. You need to know when you go for a job interview how to look the person in the eye and shake the hand and not hold your head down and feel like you got to beg for a position. You have to know how to sell yourself and let them know that, it's not like you're doing me a favor, thank God for the job, but I'm doing you a favor because what I bring to the table is going to take your company to the next level. So you want to hire me. You should, I'm blessing you just as much as you blessing me. And that confidence comes when you go to an HBCU and they instill in who you are and where you come from. If you go to a predominantly white school, they probably won't tell you who you are and where you come from. And if they tell you who you are and where you come from, the story might be messed up. They might tell you, you just this. Or February, the month of Black History, we're gonna give you the shortest month of the year. All this crazy. Don't downplay my history. And so, and I'm just being honest with you. I would love to have a debate with somebody about black colleges versus white colleges. I don't know if they'd be ready for me, but I had to interject.
I agree. I talk about it all the time.
Don't ever let nobody tell you that the HBCU is inferior. Don't ever believe that lie.
I agree. I talk about it all the time. Like my friends that go to PWIs are not the people that are saying that their education is, better than the other or the other way around. It's the people that are on the internet, just seeing HBCUs from the view of the internet. And they can't really speak on it, just like we can't speak on PWIs the way that they, because it's not something that we have experienced. But it's still two valid forms of education. Like, we're all black students at college, whether you go to a PWI or HBCU, we're still getting great education. That's why there are, the acceptance rates at HBCUs, like, Howard, Morehouse, and Clark, are small. Like, it's hard to get into them schools. My school, they accept way more students every year, but it's still hard to get into the school. They get money from the school. It's not easy. Math classes at Howard, I don't know how I do it. It's like super hard. It's super hard and just as comparable to a PWI. College is college.
And I agree and thank you for bringing that, because that's a real conversation that I think that a lot of people you know, sometimes we get caught up into the hype of what's being said on social media, and that becomes our truth. Somebody else's perception becomes our reality. But even speaking from where you are, you know, as I'm an HBCU grad, this is my middle child. I've been through this process before with my son. He chose a PWI. I let him choose. I tried my best for him to take that full ride Morehouse offered him. But you know, you have to let your child choose. I let him choose. But let me say, he also had a full ride to Notre Dame, Northwestern. So when he graduated, I'm just gonna say, he graduated from Northwestern. I let him choose because I didn't want him to tell me, you made me do this.
Right.
I didn't want to go here. Now, we're looking at PWI, Northwestern, 7% black. How many of those blacks are boys? Hardly none.
Right.
So he knew what he had in front of him, but I wanted to at least give him the roadmap. And the first thing I offered was HBCU route. So at the end of the day, parents, you gotta know your child, and you also, you know, I like to make them thought partners in the process, because if you force them to do something and they get there and they don't do well, then that's a whole nother conversation.
I really appreciate that too, because
Yes.
my mom, like, I'm the middle child as well. And my older sister, she went on this tour too when she was in high school, but she chose NIU. And, you know, I went to Howard, but I didn't go, my mom didn't, you know, force one or the other down my throat. I went to Howard and not any other school because that's where I knew I would be happy at. You can't put a price on that. And I did the work to get there, and I'm doing well at the school because, you know, this is where I'm happy at, and this is where I'm.
So congratulations to you, and you too, Mom.
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Any other questions for Mason?
Scholarships, how important could you express that it is that you do scholarships to your
It
seniors?
is so.
And do you have any suggestions on any websites?
There's a website that my mom, one of the people I graduated with, their mom told my mom about this website called Scholley, SCHOLLY.com, and they match you to, like, you put in the information like your GPA, you know, what you're interested in, your amount of community service, like what you want to major in, things like that, and then match you to different scholarships. And I still use it now because I'm still applying for scholarships because my whole tuition was not covered, but that's a pretty good website to.
Can you repeat that again?
SCHOLLY.com.
They have an app too.
Yeah.
They have an app.
Please, y'all, let's give for a big round of applause.
That's my baby. Don't look.